Well, since we're going to be talking about comic books, I might as well talk about mine for a minute. Mighty Golden Patriot, fun, action comic, alternate history. If you're a fan of Sentai or just fun comic books in general, this is something that you're going to love. We got a couple of covers. You can get one for $17. Check it out. The link is in the description. It's a lot of fun. I think you're going to like it a lot. Unlike current Marvel comics, a lot of really bad ones out there, and I put a lot of that on the leadership of that company. There's one editor in particular that I've always kind of had a problem with, and that's Tom Brevoort. I saw this article from Marvel Comics. I didn't even see who they were talking about. I just saw the headline, and I knew immediately they were talking about Tom Brevoort. I clicked it. Sure enough, it's on him. Comic books are in a pretty bad state, at least mainstream ones. Independent comics are doing quite well. In fact, they've grown quite a bit. That's because people are noticing that there is a hole in the marketplace, so they're putting their own stuff out there, which is what I did myself. Wanted to make something fun that people would actually enjoy. Unlike a lot of the slop that Marvel puts out there. They just throw shit at a wall to see if it sticks. But they actually, and this reminds me a lot of the movies, because there's no reason Marvel Comics shouldn't be booming, considering they had the culture in the palm of their hand when the Marvel movies were peak. They're like, okay, everyone loves Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. All right, let's replace him with a teenage black girl. Stupid. I don't know if Tom Brevoort had any decision on that, but it is a long history to talk about this, but the guy is an idiot. He has a deep knowledge of the history, but he doesn't really understand how to do anything with these characters. And he's so bad at his job. Jim Starlin, mega creative talent, doesn't want to work for Marvel anymore, and it's because of bad experiences that he had with Tom Brevoort. If you look into that, that was the editor of the book that he was on when he was still there, and he felt pretty disrespected by Tom, so he took off. He doesn't need that shit, so he left, and I don't blame him. So here's Tom Brevoort talking about Marvel Rivals, which is a mega popular game. It's pretty much killed Overwatch. That game's done. This game, doing great. And a lot of people are discovering these characters or just love them in general and are playing as them. And instead of maybe saying, okay, we got some popular characters here, let's do something with them, Brevoort's like, nah, that doesn't really mean shit. This is the same guy who says that Peter and MJ are never going to get back together because nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. Nobody's ever made a convincing argument to me at all, which is a joke. There's plenty of argument to be made when you look at the sales of comic books themselves, sir. Just for an example, here's the top 50 comics of March 2025. Ultimate Spider-Man, number 7. Amazing Spider-Man, number 11. Okay? And keep in mind, Amazing Spider-Man has fallen. It used to be consistently in the top 4. It's falling down because this is the best-selling unread comic there is. A lot of people buy this book just because they've always collected Amazing Spider-Man, and they just buy it and throw it in a lung box. People are actually reading Ultimate Spider-Man. I know that because I see people talk about it, unlike Amazing Spider-Man, when I only ever hear people complain about it, because there's plenty to complain about and criticize in that comic. But Ultimate Spider-Man, in my opinion, pretty good. I like that book. And guess what happens in that book? Peter Parker and MJ are married and they have a family. Something that fans have always wanted, and they never let it go. But Tom says, that don't mean nothing. That don't mean anything. There's no convincing argument here. He's dumb. He's a terrible editor. He needs to go. All of the leadership, just like Rob Liefeld said in his podcast, all the leadership there is incompetent. They all need to go. They all need to be fired, and you need to bring in people that actually give a shit. So while Marvel Rivals may be opening the door for some of the publisher's lesser-known characters to see some love, Marvel Comics executive editor Tom Brevoort says that a given hero's in-game popularity has no bearing on the comic book future, because unfortunately the hero shooter's core player base has little interest in checking out its actual source material. And that's your fault. And who says that it wasn't? There's a Marvel Rivals comic out right now. I'm really curious to see where that lands on the sales charts. We should find out next month. It's not on there right now, so I'm pretty sure that came out in April. So we'll find out if it hits this list. That means they went out and bought it, and that's a missed opportunity. Like Cloak and Dagger, I guess, are pretty popular in this game. And they've always had some popularity. Shout out Cloak and Dagger. I have that first appearance. It's in a Spectacular Spider-Man comic. A very good run that a lot of people have never checked out and don't even know about. For a long time, Spectacular Spider-Man was better than regular Spider-Man, in my opinion. As per usual, Brevoort offered this latest insight into Marvel Comics behind-the-scenes operations during a Q&A portion of his most recent Man with a Hat Substack blog entry. And kicking off his weekly feature, the X-Men line editor, and this is why X-Men is shit, because he's running it, chose to field a question regarding whether or not this was anything readers can anticipate for Cloak and Dagger in the next year, particularly in light of how, in the fans' opinion, it feels like they've become more popular than they are more popular than they are right now, thanks to Marvel Rivals. Another character that's gotten a lot of love is Jeff the Land Shark. I think he appeared in a Gwenpool comic a long time. I don't remember where his first appearance is, but he's a cute little character, a little shark, and his popularity has exploded because of this game. But Brevoort says that don't matter. That ain't nothing. No one actually cares. Same with Luna Snow. They're about to put what's his name? Paste Pete. I can't remember his name. He's the only reason I even know who that character is because he's on the cover of Doctor Strange's first appearance. Post Pete or something. They're bringing him to the game. I actually find that comical because like that comic holds money, but most people hate the cover because he's not on it. Doctor Strange is not on the cover of the first appearance book that he's in. And that's always kind of been a hard hit on that book because of that, but still a cool book to own. Unfortunately, not only the fan who asked the question, but also those hoping to see a potential comic book resurgence of characters such as Hela, Emma Frost, Penny Parker, or Adam Warlock, or in the case of Looney Snow, Brevoort in turn explained that contrary to popular belief, he has seen little crossover between Marvel Rivals players and a demand for more comic books featuring a given hero. I don't think you pay attention to any of that. You're pretty damn clueless on Peter Parker and Spider-Man. They refuse to acknowledge that, but the information is right there. They just ignore shit. They really don't care what you want. Because I have always been of the opinion that they don't have any sales expectations. They literally just exist to make shit for movies. That's it. I don't think Disney cares how much they make. So they can pretty much just do what they want, which is why most of the time if you read these, the characters just sit around and eat food and gossip at tables. They don't really do anything anymore. I tell you, said Brevoort, I tend to think the popularity of Marvel Rivals likely has more to do with play mechanics than it does the characters themselves, which is to say that I haven't seen any major correlation between popularity in the game and a rise of interest in the character in print, outside of maybe one or two outliers. That said, we are planning to do something with Cloak and Dagger in the future, so that potential audience may have something to look at. Watch those comic sales rise up because people like those characters. And like they point out here, Jeff the Land Shark, they are doing shit with because they know he's popular at Marvel. But Tom is just being his usual self. Okay, yeah, he was in Gwenpool, this character. So, yeah, that was his first appearance. These characters, now would be the time to make them big time in your comics, but they don't do that. They've never done it, and it's part of the reason why mainstream comics are in the shitter. So with that said, check out my comic. You can find the link in the description. Check it out. You're going to like it a lot. It's a great book. Look at this cover. This cover is amazing. You need this cover. So check it out. Also, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Check out the channel and the comic, and share the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
The year is 1945. World War II rages from the halls of Buckingham Palace to the shores of the Nile River. Even now, the clash between freedom and tyranny is about to boil over. Somewhere in North Africa, 2 American flyboys are soaring high on a reconnaissance mission, searching for clues to a peculiar new obsession, with the occult gripping the Nazi high command.